In this tutorial, I will be using Django and Vue.js to create a multiple file uploader. You can choose between single files and multiple uploads. So here you can see what we are building in this tutorial. It's a simple uploader where you can choose multiple files. So if I select a couple of files now, open, then all of them was uploaded automatically. And if I then go to the Finder, you'll see that all of this was put in media, uploads, the year, the month, and the day. And then we have the files here. Also, Django fixed this for us because here was two files with the same name. Okay, so you can see here I created a new empty Django project. It's called File Uploads, and I've created an empty app called Document. This is where I want the models to be located. The first thing we can do is to configure the media files in settings.py. So go in here, scroll to the bottom where we have the static files. I like to have them together. So first we can set the media URL, set it to /media. So when you go to this URL, you go to the media files. And then we also need to set the media root where the files should be located on the server. So media root equals base dir /media. So this is defined up here and is the root of the project. And then we just append media, which is where we want the files to be located. So then we can save this. Next step then is to also append the app here in the list of installed apps. So we add document here and save. So now we can go to the document models.py and create the database model for the files. So class document, pass in models.model, and the only field I want here is the document or the file itself. So document equals models.file field. This could also be image field if you wanted to have that. Upload to. Now this is where we want the file to be located inside the media folder. So here I want to create a new folder called uploads, and then Django will handle the rest for us here. So then we can save this, and then we can go to the command line and update the database. So Python 3 manage.py make migrations. Oops. And then Python 3 manage.py migrate. Nice. So now we have that running. And then to store or to help us with storing these files, I want to create a new form for submitting it. So create a new file here, forms.py. And here we want to import forms from Django. So from Django import forms. And I want to create the database model we just created. So from .models import document. And then we can create the form class upload form. Here we need to pass in forms.modelForm because I want to use a model form for this. Like that. And then we add a class meta for configuration where we can set the model to be document. And we can also set which fields we want. And that's of course only document like that. Also remember to add a comma here since this is a tuple. And then we can save that. So now you can see that this points to this field. And then I want to create a new view for this. So inside views.py, we can create it def index. And then we pass in the request parameter as usual. And form equals upload form. You can see here that it imported automatically from document to forms, but I just want to say .forms because I like relative imports much better. So return render request, and then we specify which template to use, and that is upload. Sorry, I want to use document/index.html. And then we pass in the form so we can use it in the template and save. So if I now go into file uploads urls.py, we can import it and add it here. So from document, which is the app, import views. And then we can just add it here, path, empty, because we want the front page to be where we upload files. Then just views.index, name, index, and save. So if I now try to run the server, we'll probably get an error when we go to the browser, because yes, the template doesn't exist yet. So that's the next step. Before I continue, I just want to say thanks to all of my patrons. If you too want to support me, you will find a link in the description below. So go back to the editor, and in the documents folder, create a new folder called templates. And then in there, one more called document. And then in there we create a template, index.html. Okay, so I just pasted in some basic HTML to set the doc type and then the head. I set the viewport and the title. And I also include Bulma, which is a CSS framework I love to use. So you just use a CDN for this, so it looks a little bit better for this demo. And then in here we start building the HTML, but we can save and just see that everything is okay. Template does not exist yet. Maybe I created it in the wrong folder. Okay, I just needed to stop and start the server again. Nice. So then we can continue building the HTML here. I want a section here, class section, so we get some space here. And then we set the ID to app. And this is for referencing it down in the script for Vue. And then in here we have a div class container. And then the title, h1 class title. MB6, so we have some space down to the form uploader. So if I save now, refresh, you'll see the title there. Nice. And then we can include the CDN for Vue 3. So if I go back here again and down below the section, then script src https://unpkg.com/vue@3. Now we should have Vue in our project. And I also want to include the CDN for Axios, which I'm going to use to talk to the backend. So script src https cdn.cdn.cloud/ajax/libs/axios/0.27.2 axios.min.js and close that. I'll also include these 3 links in the description below, so you can go there and copy them. If I now refresh, I can open up the inspector just to see if I did any mistakes with the URLs or similar. No, everything seems to be working. Okay, so let's add some more HTML here. So in here I want to have one more div below the title. Div class progress, I want to have a progress bar. MB6, so a space from this and down. But I only want to show this if we have a document, but I will come back to that later. And then in this we say progress class progress is primary, which makes this blue. Primary, like that. And then we can set the value to 50 just so we see that this is working. And max is 100. And then we can just say 50% like that. So if I save now, go back and refresh, you'll see a progress bar. Okay, it was green and not blue, sorry. And then below this we can have the file field. So div class file. And then we have a label class file label. And then we have the input type file, a ref file, so we can reference this later. Class file dash input, this is styling from Bulma. And then I want to have a span class file CTA, so it's click to action. This is styling above this file input. Span class file label, choose a file, and save. So if I go back again and refresh, we don't see that. Okay, this was supposed to go one out like that. Save, refresh, and now we have this. Choose a file. And if I click it, it opens up this browser. And then below here, I want to have a button. So below div class file, we have button class. Button is primary and empty too, so there's some space up to the inputs. And here we can just say upload. And then below here, I want to show notifications if there are any. So div class notification empty 6, so there's some space up. And then here the message and save. So this is the design for now. So now I want to set up the Vue app so we can have some more interaction with this. So if I go back here now, let's create one more script tag. And then it's a const create app equals Vue. And then create a new app by doing this, and then the curly braces. And then we mount that to just say dot mount hash app. Refresh, and now we don't have any more errors there, so it looks like this is working. So we can now define a data array for the document, the progress, and the messages. So in here we say data return message. This can just be empty for now. And then progress should be set to 0, and document can be default null. Like that. So now I want to change this first so we can fix the message. If message. So this will now only render if we have a message. And in here I want to show the message, which should not be hard coded like this. To do that, we use these square brackets and say message. And the reason why we need to use the square brackets is because right now I'm using Django to render this, but if you use the Vue CLI, you can just use the curly braces. And to make sure that Vue is using these instead of the curly braces, you need to add something called delimiters. And then add array. Whoops. Like that. And save. So now this should be working, and this isn't showing anymore. Nice. Next, I only want this upload button to show when we have selected a file. So here we also add if document, save, refresh, and then that's gone until I select the file. Okay, that did not work because we need to do some more changes down in the Vue script, but I'll come back to that very soon. Next, I also want this to only show if you have an active document. So if document, and then I want to show the actual progress count here. So progress, and this should also be bound to that value, progress. So now this will automatically update when we upload a new file. So then we can work on the choosing a file. So when this changes, we want to call a method we are going to create. So at change, select file. And then if I scroll down, we can create that method, methods, select file, and this should have no parameters. But what we then can say is this.document equals this.refs, which will find all of the elements with this attribute. And now we want to select the .file. .file.files, because files is an array of files in this element, which comes from the HTML. And then we want to get the first, because there are no more, but we need to do this anyway, so we get the object and not the list. If I now save, refresh, the progress bar is also gone. Let me select the file. Okay, cannot read properties of undefined reading file, so I did something wrong. So it was supposed to be refs. So let's try again. Now this is showing and this is showing. So then the next step then is to make sure that this is sending to the backend. So then when we click this button, we want to create a new method, or we want to call a new method. So @click upload. So let's begin by creating that upload. And then here we can first reset the progress. This.progress equals 0. And then this.perform upload. We're going to create this method also soon. This.document and event. And then create a fat arrow function. And what this does is that we get an event in return. And when we do this, we can say this.progress to update that. This.progress equals math.round, because we want to have just simple digits. 100 multiply event.loaded. This is information about how far the progress is gone. And then we just divide it by event.total. Like that. And then when that's done, we get some information back. So then we can say .then response. And then we can say this.message equals the file was uploaded, and this.document equals null. So we reset that. And if there are any errors, we want to catch that. So catch error, create a fat arrow function, and then we can set this.progress to reset that, set it to 0. This.message is something went wrong, please try again. And this.document should also be reset, just so that's done, equals null. So if I now try to run this, it will crash because we haven't created this. So that's the next step. And here we want to accept two parameters, which is the file and on upload progress, which is the event we want to send back here, which then calls this. And then make this a function or a method. And we want to create a new form data variable, new form data. This is built into JavaScript and all browsers. This is used for handling sending files and similar to the backend. Form data dot append document and file, which comes from there, which was sent in up there. And then we want to use Axios to send this to the backend. So we just say return Axios, so it's returned up to this dot post, and then the URL we want to post is just /upload. And then we pass in the form data, so the backend knows what the data we sent. And we need to set the headers because we want to tell the browser and the backend that we're using multi-part form. So content type multi-part /form data. If you don't do this, the backend won't accept that there are coming files. Now we need to set the CSRF token x-CSRF token. Now we can just say CSRF token like this, and Django will fix it for us. And then below these headers we say on upload progress. So when this is running, it will call back to this, which will again call back to this. And when it's done, we will show this or this. So let's try to run this now and see what happens. Upload. Now we get an error because Axios isn't defined. I think it's because I get a cross-origin block here. Okay, so let me try with a different CDN. If I go back to the template, scroll up where we include Axios. So then we use mpkj for this also. So save, go back and refresh. And now that error is gone. Like that, upload. and now we got an error from the backend, and then we show that something went wrong, please try again. And that's because we haven't set up the upload page yet. So that is the next step. So if we then go back to the editor again and into views.py, you can create it below the index here, def upload, pass in request. And then we can say if request.files, then we know that the form was submitted with files. Then we can say form equals upload form. And then we pass in request.post and request.files. I don't think there are anything in the post, but I just like to do this anyway. And then if form.isValid, then form.save. And then it should be uploaded and saved for us. Then we can just say return JSON response. And we can set the message or something similar, success, true. And we just need to import this from Django, from django.http, import JSON response. So now we just need to add this to the URLs, path upload / views.upload, and name is also upload. So if I now go here, there are no errors, so refresh and we can try again. Upload, and then that was gone. The file was uploaded, so hopefully everything was working. Okay, I see that there was an error with the progress bar. But if I go to the Finder and open up media, you'll get a new file here. Uploads 5.jpg. Nice. So the upload is working. So I just want to see if I can spot the error with the progress. This is progress, this is progress. Sorry, this was event.total, of course. So refresh, try again. And I just want to show you that if I use the same file name now, Django will handle this for us and rename it to something random like that. So it won't override or overwrite the files. Okay, if you didn't see the progress bar here, it's just because I'm working localhost and the upload goes very fast. But let's continue now and show how to do multiple file uploads. And when I do the multi-upload, I don't want to have the progress bar, so I can just remove that. And then I need to do a little change to this, because I want to set an attribute at the end called multiple. And then we just have this as it was, this can be as it was. And then in here I want to do some changes, because I want to show this if we have multiple documents. So instead of showing that if you have a message, we here say if document.length. And sorry, I want to call it documents.length because we have more than one. And this is a list and not an object. And then in here, we can say v4. So we want to loop through all of the documents. Document in documents. And then in here we can show the message. So document.name, because we want to know what file this is information about. Then document.status. And then we need to do some changes down here. We can remove both of these and rename this to documents and convert it to a list. And then the perform upload can just be like it is. But we need to do some changes to the select file. Just remove this. And then in here we want to convert all of the files in this input field here to a list or an array. Array.from this.refs. So I still want to point to that. File.files.for each. So we want to loop through all of them and upload them. So then we create a new variable called file based on the iteration we are in. This.upload file. So then we just call this function again with the file we want to upload. And then when that's done, I want to push this document or file to the list of documents. So this.documents.push, create a new object here, name, file.name, and the status is uploading, like that. So now when we select a new file, it's pushed to this function and it's pushed to this list of information. And then we need to change this a little bit, because here we need to accept the file parameter which we pass in there. And instead of saying this.document, we say file. And then we can remove this because we don't use that. Just say this perform upload file. And then I want to do some changes in here as well. Because here I want to loop through the documents and change the status for the certain document we are changing or uploading. So this.documents for each, so we loop through them. Document, create a fat arrow function. If document.name equals file.name, then we want to change this. So document status equals is uploaded. Then we know that this is finished. But we also need to do this down here if there are errors with this certain file. Then we just want to say failed, like that. So I also want to do a little change to this perform upload, because we don't do this anymore. The progress bar, like that. So now all of the changes should be done. Document was accessed but not rendered. Okay, I think it's because this button should have documents.length as well. Refresh. So let's try to upload a couple of files. So it's uploaded. And if I go here to the Finder, all of the files was uploaded. Then the last thing I want to show you is the little change in the models.py. Because right now all of the files are just uploaded in here. But what if we wanted to upload to, for example, each of the years? So if I now save, try to upload one more file, don't need to refresh. Uploaded, and then I go back here, then you see that we get the 2022 and the file is put in there instead. Now you can also do the same with the month, so %m and %d to get the day as well. So if I save now, refresh, don't have to refresh, but then uploaded. Okay, I don't need this button actually, because it was automatically uploaded. But now you can see that we get the month, the day, and then it was put in there. Nice. And that was it for this tutorial. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please hit like below. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below and I'll answer as soon as I can. See you in the next video.